In this video, I'm going to answer the biggest question humanity has ever had. What is the best two-part epoxy putty? Putty. Resin. Stuff. Hit it! Whether I'm working on my G.I. Joe customs or on my Warhammer miniatures, I like to use putty. A lot. But which one is the best? That depends on what you want to do with it. And I'm going to compare them and test them so you don't have to. Green stuff, brown stuff, gray stuff, also known as Procreate, and two types of milliput, black and white, super fine. And I'm going to test them thoroughly. Practicality, the ability to take up details, flexibility, and work life. Practicality, the ability to take up details, flexibility, and work life. Let's do science.
Yes, science!
Yeah. I know.
Stevie's, your sample size is too small.
You didn't standardize your conditions.
Well, where's your statistical analysis?
You got no control group, do ya?
It's as scientifical as I can get. Okay, let's face it, we're just grown-up people playing with plastic toys.
Gotcha, didn't I?
All the products I'm going to compare are so-called two-part epoxy putties, where you mix a filler and a hardener together and then over time it slowly cures. And during that work life, that curing time, you have the ability to sculpt it and bend it and form it and detail it and sculpt it, and I already said sculpt, didn't I? Or do whatever you like with it.
You can do anything that makes you happy.
That way you can add details to your custom action figures, your Warhammer miniatures, your bases. Hell, you can even fix pipes with it, I've heard. It's miracle stuff. It really is miracle stuff. I'm going to compare practicality, and that's just my experience, what I encounter. How is it packed? How is the mixing? Is it sticky or not? Stuff like that. Things you come across while using it.
I'm ready.
Work life, aka curing time. How long does it take to cure? I'm going to do this by making small balls and trying to flatten them using a water bottle of approximately 1 kilogram, or about 2 pounds for some of you. And I'll be doing that at 0, 30, 60, 90, 105 and 120 minutes after mixing. So you get a nice overview of, well, how long it takes for them to cure. And I measure how flat the balls get. Hashtag flat balls, I guess. So that would give us an indication of how malleable the stuff is over time. Science. So I measured all flattened balls. I really have to come up with something else for that. So I measured the height of my tiny balls. Tiny balls. I measured. What's a different word for balls? Let me Google balls synonym. I'm not going to say that in my YouTube video. Let's just call it balls, okay? By measuring the height of the balls, I could get a clear indication of how malleable the stuff is over time. All of the products are very malleable for about 30 minutes, and then they start to differ. So if you look at the graph, this graph, you see that compared to the other products, brown stuff stays soft for a very long time. And even after the claimed work life of 90 minutes, it's still very malleable. Green stuff cures slowly but steadily, but of all of the stuffs, gray stuff cures the fastest. Both black and white milliput take a little less time to cure than green stuff.
And now for something completely different.
Flexibility. Don't ever do that again. To test flexibility, I will use a Green Stuff World's roll maker to make rolls.
That's basically what a roll maker does, isn't it?
And I let them cure for about 5 months. Thoroughly. While in reality, 24 hours would suffice. Yeah, let's say something came up. I'm a bit of a procrastinator sometimes. I then taped the rolls to a piece of paper and I started bending them. And I measured the angle at which the roll would break. The greater the angle, the more flexible the product is. Easy. Science. And that's where the real difference is showing. I wasn't even able to bend the white stuff at all. It immediately broke when I taped it down. So that's 0 degrees. Brown stuff, although it cures very, very slowly, it gets pretty hard. I could bend it 22 degrees, which makes it, of all the stuffs, the green stuff, brown stuff and gray stuff, the least flexible. After that we got the black milliput with 30 degrees and then a big gap, a very big gap. Look at those differences. I mean, the green stuff is the most flexible. Gray stuff is a bit less flexible than that, but still green stuff and gray stuff are both pretty flexible. Next! Using blue stuff, I made some simple push molds and I used a textured roller pin to make some Warhammer bases to check the ability to obtain details. If we compare all these copied details, we don't really notice a difference. And also, the different bases I made with the roller pins seem to look quite similar in quality. Due to the stickiness and the fact that it's quite brittle, the ones made with milliput look a bit more damaged. But that could also be a look you desire, of course. They all sculpt quite well. They do what they should do. And that's a good thing.
One more thing.
And last, practicality, which is just my experience using these putties. And boy, they couldn't be more different. Green stuff and brown stuff, they are a bit sticky, but that is okay. It's what I expect. The white and the black milliput, however, they just leave a residue on your hands, they leave a residue on your, that's a lot of on yours. They leave a residue on your texture pin. Yeah, I would definitely recommend wearing gloves when using black and white milliput. But then the gray stuff. It's very hard to get out of the plastic either. It's so sticky. I literally had to cut away the plastic that it was wrapped in. So I could throw away this, which is quite a waste. Then the mixing, it's very hard already, so I literally got blisters on my hand. Perhaps I had an old batch, I don't know, but I didn't like working with it. But I did order another batch.
16 paranoia-filled days later.
So after a few weeks, I received my fresh gray stuff. And the first thing that strikes me is that the packaging differs from the batch that I used in my experiments. The wrapping is tougher and the putty seems to stick less to it. It is still quite hard to mix though, but not as hard as my old supply was. All in all, I guess my suffering was mostly influenced by the shelf life of my old supply of grey stuff. And now, back to the video.
Meanwhile, back in the lowlands,
I like working with it, I don't like working with it, but I like the end result of grey stuff. So, my recommendations, because what is the answer? Which one is the best? Well, that depends what you want to do with it. Duh. I like using green stuff to fill gaps on my miniatures, and I like green stuff to sculpt hair and beards. But for that, I like brown stuff even more because it has a longer working life. Milliput, black and white, I don't use that a lot anymore. I don't like working hands. That's it. For making details for my G.I. Joes using blue stuff, it's excellent, and it's a bit cheaper than the other products. Gray stuff, I have a very ambivalent. It's hard work mixing it, and you got a lot of waste, but in the end, when I want to make my Warhammer bases fast, I use gray. After 30 minutes, I can remove it from the mold and I can let it cure, and I can make another copy. Well, that's impossible with green stuff, brown stuff, or the milliputs. You really have to let them sit inside the mold for at least 2 hours before removing it. again, which one is the best? All of the stuffs. I like milliput the least.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
It has its uses, and if you like it, feel free to like it. Whenever I sculpt some beard, or I sculpt some hair, or I sculpt a mustache, I'm pretty sure I would like to use green stuff or brown stuff. And there you have it. Now you know which putty you should use for your customization project. I hope you liked the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, have fun, guys. Bye bye, Joes. Bye bye. You are so pretty, so damn fast. Shit. Don't swear. Don't swear. I really should determine whether or not I'm a family-friendly channel. Flexibility, 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 check. He's so sweet, my little doggy. Go. Not even my dog is listening to me anymore. Roll a pin, does whatever roll a pin does. I'm a bit of a procrastinator sometimes. Next!